All right, hey everybody, I'm Joe Murray, just sitting here. That's what we're going with. I started with Murray in place, and then I went with just sitting there, and now we're going with just sitting here. So I'm going to actually update that while we're here right now, and I'm going to do the little slang version of it, just sitting here. And now you can find any episode that we've ever done or I've ever done with everybody on Spotify. So search Just Sitting Here right there. Boom. Search that. You can find us on Spotify now. Also on YouTube. So every single video can now be seen on YouTube. So you can watch all the interviews that we've done. We're gonna get a big show today. Matt McCarthy is going to be joining me in just a little bit. Today is somewhat of a special day. If you remember back in 2013, we'll talk about that in just a little bit here. The NFL draft is a week away. Next week's going to be a big week for the show. We're going to do a ton of draft coverage. We're going to do some Patriot stuff today as well. And some other just fun stuff. We'll get to learn more about Matt McCarthy from 98.5, the Sports Hub, in a bit. And last night, of course, was the Dark Side of the Ring. I've been doing a weekly update on every show that they've been doing. And I get an update on last night's show as well. So you can use the chat feature to comment on the show. And somebody just, boom, Bruins Luchador in. Joe, what's up? Easy as that. You comment, I'll put you right up, and we can discuss anything that you guys want to bring to the table today. And it's easy as that. So you're on Facebook Live, watching on Twitter as well. We are live at noon every day here on I'm Just Sitting Here with Joe Murray. So let's bring in my guest for today. His name is Matt McCarthy. He is from 98.5 The Sports Hub. He is from the Hardcore Baseball podcast as well. Hello, Matt. Welcome to I'm Just Sitting Here.
Joe, I love the name. I have to say, if we can just get the apostrophe in place of the G, that would be awesome. But no, seriously, I've been following along since Murray in place to just sitting there. Now just sitting here. I am as they would say in sports talk radio, I am a first time, long time. So yes. No, it's good to be here, Joe.
And you're the first.
I'm just sitting here too.
You're the first just sitting here guest that we've had. So it's now all out there, Matt. It's all over the universe now. Spotify, you name it, Facebook Live. So all your friends on Facebook can see it right now. I'll pull up the little banner so everybody can see. And I want to thank our friend Kristen for helping us out with this as well. I'll pull down the banner. But look at all the guys. There's Matt. There's Matt right there. We got Sean tomorrow and then Ryan Johnston. What's that?
Seriously, this thing is looking sharp. Like, hey, the production value, like this is no bullshit. This is not some rinky-dink operation here, Joe.
This is definitely not a ring. All right, man. I got a lot of time on my hands.
Well, you're just here.
I am. I really, dude. I have a lot of time on my hands. So that's kind of what I've been doing, man. Like, just like you do a podcast. You try to do it weekly. Trying to stay fresh. You have a guest on, and it's like, dude, it's a grind because we'll get to know you in a little bit, but you work a full-time job. You put in the time on weekends, whether it's nights. Fuck any job that they offer, you're there. You know what I mean. So,
sure, what the fuck?
But it's hard, and dude, you drive a distance, to the station and everything like that. So now that we have this time, I'm like, shit. I want to go digital now. Like, I want to do more video. That's where everything's going, and you get to see us, and I get to do the background, and I like all that, and I just you can put a face to the name that you hear or a face to the voice. So this is something I've wanted to do for a while. I finally found the program I like. I learned how to do the banners, but really what I want to do is like have guys that I have relationships or guys that I want to get to know more, that I like listening to, or that I work with, because dude, like we work together, like we've gone to Patriots games and hung out at sporting events, but like
weddings, you name it.
Yeah, exactly. But like, you don't really get to talk about it on the radio, right? It's kind of like we have this 12 minutes to get your hot take in, and if nobody likes it, it's like, or hey, who's this guy? You know what I mean? Like that. There's a lot of that. So this is why I wanted to do this. We're gonna have different guys in from every week. We're starting with the Sports Hub, and we're gonna work our way down throughout. So I believe you're the eighth guest that we've had on the show here, and somebody's already checking. Have you checked out Crab Play? Big fan of McCarthy already. We're getting people in right off the bat here. But I will introduce Matt McCarthy. I believe you've been at the Sports Hub now for how many years? 6 years,
God.
7 years?
7 years at this point. 7 years as of this summer. So yeah, I won the first ever Sports Hub search for like a weekend talent contest, which was a lot of fun. Like it's crazy. It's crazy to think it was really that long ago. And yeah, I mean, listen, I'm Boston born and bred, despite the fact that I don't necessarily have the accent. I've heard that from a few people. Like, where's your accent? You're not from here. No, I'm actually from here, born and raised in the Boston area. Pretty much predominantly South Shore. So yeah, listen, like this is like the world's coolest part-time gig, like getting to talk about sports. Like, my God, who wouldn't want to do this? Like, and it's a blast. And the first show I ever did, Joe, was with you. After, winning I was on with Hardy the night that I won the contest, the night that Tim McCone and I got jobs at the station. And the first show I ever did was with you, because you're so easy to work with. So they're like, we're just going to put this noob on. We're going to put this guy who probably has no business being on this station on. We're going to put him on with Joe, and we're going to see how it works. And for some reason, they've kept me 7 years later. So, but yeah, you'll always be the first person I did a sports radio show with. And man, it was pretty cool.
So do you remember the game that we followed after?
Yes, I do. Cincinnati. Actually, all right. So this was, I think we were on right before Patriot season started. The first show we ever did. I think the second show we ever did together was the Patriots loss in 2013 to Cincinnati, when Nate Solder on 4th and goal, they put him in at tight end and they tried to throw a fade pass to Nate Solder, and you and I lost our fucking minds for about 3 hours after that. Josh McDaniels being a monumental dumbass and Tom Brady trying to throw a fade pass to Nate Solder on the goal line on 4th and inches.
I still can't believe that.
Unbelievable, right? That was like the epitome of the Josh McDaniels experience. Like, they were rolling there in good shape, and then all of a sudden they throw a ball to Nate Solder, a fade on the goal line. You're like, what the fuck just happened?
And like, to really go full circle here, the Patriots had a chance, 3 times in the playoff game to run the football in, and they couldn't this year.
You get cute.
And normally they throw in that situation, or at least they want the ball in Tom Brady's hands at those times. We've gone full circle, but just that game in particular, though, it was raining. It was a real bad rain game. Brady sucked that day. Like, the storm came. The Pats trailed, and all of a sudden it's like, here comes the storm. And the rain was the hardest, like that final drive. And you're like, oh, it's still the Bengals. They suck.
Right.
Like, and like it just didn't happen that day. But good memory on your part. I that's how I remember it. I remember us. It was like, what are we going to talk about? It's like that fucking pass to Nate Solder in the back of the end zone. It just went all day. That was for three straight hours on the hot take here. So Matt McCarthy was the winner of something that CBS was doing at the time, where they did events in the area. So people showed up to bars, and the way the Sports Hub did it, from what I remember, is they had people read headlines. So like, who read the headlines the best? I don't know if they interviewed. What was the other process with that?
All right, so here was the process. So they had this. It was obviously a big public event. They went around to either 10 or 12 bars in Metro Boston. I think they even went up to New Hampshire and down to Providence too. And you signed up on the website. And basically, you got in line. So you went there, and there were like 200 people at the Charlie Horse in West Bridgewater when I went. So kind of a backstory behind this. I just gotten out of college. I graduated from Ithaca, and I was up in Portland doing an internship with the Portland Sea Dogs. I thought I was going to go into baseball broadcasting. I don't know if you could hear that Slack chat.
That's fine. Don't worry.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, it's my lunch break right now, but I'm still going to be getting Slack chats. So anyway, so I was up in Portland. I was calling baseball. I thought, this is what I'm going to do with my life. I'm going to just kind of ride the bus in the minor leagues for 20 years, kind of do like the Bob Socci thing. Like, Bob Socci was a minor league baseball broadcaster for 20 years before he got, obviously, his huge break with the Patriots, and has just done a fantastic job. That's what I thought I was going to do. I was home during our All-Star break, and I heard about this thing, and I was like, screw it. It's a Friday night. I've got nothing going on. I've got no social life, whatever. I'm going to go out to this thing. I sat in line for 2 hours, waiting to read John Wallach's headlines in front of a bar full of people who had heard 200 people before me get up there and read the Sports Hub headlines. We got Wallach's headlines from that morning. I can still remember Patrice Bergeron had just signed a 7-year contract extension, taking him through 2022 or whatever. So we got up there, we read the headlines, and then you left. It was nothing. I got up there. I thought I didn't even really do a good job. And I was like, I can't believe I just wasted 2 hours of my fucking life sitting in this line, just waiting to read the Sports Hub headlines for 90 seconds in front of a bar full of people who have no interest in what the hell's going on. About 2 weeks later, I got an email from our old program director, Mike Thomas, saying, hey, congratulations, you're a semifinalist. Basically, what they did was they took one person from each of those bars, and I think it was 10, and they just picked how you sounded reading the Sports Hub headlines, and that's how they determined who was a semifinalist. So he said, hey, come on in, let's do an interview, and then 4 people are going to advance to the finals. So I went in, I had about a 4-minute interview with Mike Thomas, and he's like, all right, cool, I'll give you, like he had Chris Rucker, our old promotions guy, give me a tour, and then that was it. I was gone. I was like, well, shit, I fucked that up. Like, I'll never be on the sports side. I can't believe I went into this interview and totally fucked it up. Like 4 minutes, like he's clearly not interested in me. And then a day later, I got an email. Hey, congratulations, you're a finalist. Come to Hurricane O'Reilly's on Canal Street this Saturday night, and you're going to try out. So I was like, holy shit, I can't believe that happened. And once I got past that moment of feeling like I'll never do this, I was just so calm, cool, and collected going into that night. And I just had a blast. I was on with Hardy for 30 minutes, and for some reason they gave me the job, which was pretty cool.
Was Tim McCone a part of this, your year?
Yeah, Tim McCone was a part of it my year. Tim was a finalist with me that year, and Tim tells just an amazing story. So
we had him on last week, and he told it. Yeah.
Dude, Tim is one of the funniest guys. So as Tim, like I can't do it justice, but Tim went second, and there was a technical problem at Hurricanes that night, so you couldn't really hear people. Like the PA system wasn't working, so we could sort of hear the first person who went. But then the bar started to fill up. McCone went second. He went at 10:30, and I couldn't hear anything he was saying. So I went third, and McCone tells this great story. He's texting his buddies like, hey, how'd it go? And his friends are like, hey, man, you're like, that went really well. Like, I think you're in good shape. And then McCone's so funny. It's like, I'm going. And then his buddies texted him like, dude, you don't have this.
He said he got wasted too.
He got
McCone, there might have been like an extra round.
Right. Yeah. McCone got totally fucked up. And and he had no idea, as nobody did, that if you won the contest at the end of the night, they were going to bring you back on the air, which they did. Like I went back on the air for like 5 minutes, after midnight. So I was done at 11:30, so I really didn't have time to get too slammed or anything like that. Plus, I had a 2-hour drive back to Portland that night because I was still living in Portland at the time because I was there for a few months calling baseball. So so I won. It was great. I got back to my car, and the air had been let out of my tires.
For real?
For real. Air had been let out of my tires.
Did you have to like call AAA and have them come in? Did you drive on like your?
I drove. So there was still one tire that had air in it, and I drove to a gas station.
Do you think it was McCone?
So that's my theory.
He's a Worcester. I don't put anything by the Worcester kid, okay?
No, absolutely not. He grew up in Worcester. He knows how things work and everything. And I've always said that was Tim McCone who let the air out of my tires because he was pissed that I won the contest. Now he still got a job at the station, so McCone did it right. I mean, here's the thing: McCone did the contest. He just got a job. I did the contest. I won. I'm forever like, hey, you won that contest, right? Tim actually got in on like legitimate merits. I got in via some, public search contest. McCone got in because they're like, this guy's good too. Screw it. Yeah, let's bring this guy in. He did it right. If I knew that they were going to hire, the second or third place person, I don't know if I would have won the contest. McCone had it figured out.
Oh, it's funny. Well, hey, now you guys are like, what's the name of the show when you guys are on together now?
McCarthy and McCone. I don't know.
Is it like the Mick brothers or the
Mick brothers, like
McNuggets or something? I don't know.
Mickey and McBone. I don't know.
There you go.
Yeah, Tim is definitely one of my best friends at the station. We love working together. And every once in a while, we've done a fair amount of shows together now, and we always like sharing that story. From my perspective, like I win the contest, and he thinks he's like not getting a job at the station, and of course we end up in the exact same spot, which is awesome because I'm such a huge fan of Tim and his work. He's like the funniest guy.
Oh, dude, like funny, but like doesn't like boast about it. It's just kind of it just makes you laugh, laid back kind of type.
It's so subtle, and you're like, and you have to take a second to process how funny it is, and you're like, oh my god, that's hilarious. Like he's just his stuff on Twitter. Like I always say, he's like the best kept secret on at the station on Twitter. Like he's so funny on Twitter. So no, he's a great guy. We love working together.
So here's the deal, Matt. Okay, we saw a goaltender this year get pulled off of Zamboni and win a hockey game this year.
Yeah,
like shut out the team that pays him.
Right.
Like, well, they scored a couple of goals, but they beat him.
In the period. Yeah.
So now I've like my take now is shit. These people who call in and said I played hockey, like now they have like a legitimate like take, right? Like now they're like, oh man, I played hockey, so I know. Like I know now. Well, when it comes to sports radio, like what's the difference? Like I used to sit in a car and be like, fuck, I can do this. That's why I went to school for it and I got lucky or whatever.
Yeah.
But look in New York, Joe Beningo, right? The guy's now doing that's what it was for him.
Yeah,
he was just a fan who got a show, and now he's, but like this can happen. I tell this to everybody. I do think that like anyone can do a sports show.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, can you be entertaining? Can you be likable? Can you do it through a grind? Can you be creative daily? That kind of thing. And some people have it, some people don't. So yeah, like in a way, like I don't want to like put us down as like, oh, we're just sports guys, but like, after a while, it's like, okay, well, hey, this guy's got something here. I like his knowledge, or I like listening to what he has to say. So It's definitely not as easy as I'm making it out to be, but I do think that anyone can do a podcast. Like we have people all the time, oh, you suck. Okay, great. Where can I hear you, buddy? Like, where can I hear you? And it's not like a platform or whatever. It's just that you think you know so much, go fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like that's how with Twitter trolls, I'm the same way. It's like, where can I hear your shit? You don't like what I'm saying. Where can I hear yours? But I'll tell you this, whether you're likable or not, you're doing your job if that's the case.
So here's what I'll say about this, Joe. I think anybody can do this to a certain extent. Like it takes no God-given ability to do what we do. Like you think about like athletes, like you're either Pedro Martinez or you're not. Like you can throw a curveball or you can't, or you have like a God-given, like you have that something special. And I'm not like diminishing what athletes do. Like they work so hard. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, but like, listen, I loved playing baseball, but you can either hit a curveball or you can't, right? Like I couldn't hit a curveball. So like, that's why I'm not playing baseball anymore for a million different reasons. Like somebody has that ability to hit that curveball. I didn't. I think with this, and I think this is one of the beauties of what we do is, yes, anybody can do it, but you need to be passionate. You need to have the drive. It's not easy. You can get better. You just need to be willing to dedicate years of time and effort. Like we all started in the same place, right? Like, I mean, here's the thing about just about everybody who's in our business. We all started as sports fans. We all started as people who truly love sports. I still do. I know you still do. I think the majority of people in our business, even though maybe it doesn't come across sometimes, truly do love sports. We all started in that same place. But to your point, Joe, it's like anybody can do, a podcast. You could like anybody theoretically could talk about sports, but you do need to work really hard at it. You do need to be dedicated to the craft. You have to be willing to make sacrifices. I look back at where I was 7 years ago when I started, and I'm like, hey, I was just a kid who loved sports. I didn't know how to do a radio show. And I had been on the radio. I was calling baseball games up in Portland. I had dedicated basically my whole college experience to radio. Like my degree is in television and radio. Like I studied communications. I learned all of that. So, I mean, I had already had essentially 5 years of experience by the time I started at the Sports Hub, but I had no idea how to do a radio show. I had no idea how to convey my passion for this. And I'm still learning. We're all still learning. We're all still learning how to do this. But it's taken a long time, for me to learn how to apply that passion. Anybody can do it, but you can't do it overnight. You know what I mean? So that's the difference between what we do and let's say what athletes do. As I said, I can't hit a curveball. Some people out there can. Anybody can talk about sports. And if you're willing to put in the time, the hard work, the effort, the dedication, you can be successful in an industry like this too. It's just not going to happen overnight. And you need to have a drive that maybe some other people just don't have. Because I've always said this, Joe, a million people would love to do what we do, even in the small capacity that we do it, right? We just sit there on the weekends, we fill in, we bullshit about sports, we bullshit about stuff. It's the world's coolest part-time gig, full-time gig, whatever you want to call it. I love it. We all love it. But you have to be willing to, Joe, how long have you been doing this? You've been at this 15 years, right?
Almost. And the one thing with me, man, to your point, when I first started, the hardest thing for me was credibility.
Totally.
We don't write for a newspaper, right? We don't have an affiliation with some television station or a team for that matter. Yeah, you may have been around the Portland Sea Dogs, and that's good. You interned, but you were there on a daily basis, so you had an eye for it. But that's what it was back in the day. That old Big Show format was, Big Show used to call the Celtics games,
right?
Right, during the high point of the Celtics runs, and then you have the Tony Mazes and the Felgers of the world and the Buckleys and these guys every day just coming in, and that was the insight that you wanted in sports radio. Do you know what I mean? Those guys were around it every day. So when it comes to guys like us, it's what do you do? Oh,
right.
And for me, that was the hardest thing. How do you break down the barrier? So for me, I tried to be creative. Okay, I like gambling. No one else is doing it. So maybe that can be a way to be featured or whatever. But that brings up my next point. For me, when I first started, I played sports. So I used to be all right, the Patriots are going to run a 4-3 today, and they're going to get to the second level and watch the wham block. And then, watch the guard's going to pull to the right, and then watch the tight end dump over the middle. And the shit didn't work.
Yeah.
It didn't work. I know sports. I don't need to tell you that I know sports. It's about being entertaining. And I think it took me probably 3 years, maybe 3 years. And then one day, dude, I just started ranting about bullshit. And it worked because that's what I do. And when I hang out with you guys, I rant and I yell, and it just took a while to find myself. So I want to ask you, you're getting reps now. You're seasoned. Do you think you found yourself yet?
Yes and no. I think it's and this is philosophical or whatever, some bullshit. And I'm not a philosopher or anything like that, but I think you're always searching for yourself. As I said, when I started 7 years ago, I just knew I was a guy who liked sports, loved baseball, all of those things. But how do you do a radio show? How do you because a million people out there love sports. And listen, part of that makes you relatable, I guess. It's hey, it's just you want to be the guy on the other end of the radio who's talking sports and is relatable. But how do you find yourself? Put it this way, I was here I was at the Sports Hub, and I'm surrounded by so many talented people who do so many different things. Back in the day, Rich Keefe was so good at bits, right? Creature features, stuff like that. And I was maybe I can do bits. And I'm nah, I don't really think I'm that good at that, but it took me a while to be I can't be a bit guy. Jim Murray does amazing voices. I can't do voices. I've tried. I found out, that just doesn't work. So you know what I found, Joe, is that I'm just somebody who has an opinion. I'm just somebody who has an opinion on sports. And does that make me different from anybody else? No, not really. But I really just kind of try and stick to this is what I know. I'm not going to talk politics. I'm not going to talk the world. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm just going to talk baseball, or I'm going to talk sports. I'm going to talk about what's going on, and I'm just going to give my thought on sports. And you know what? That sounds so simple. I'm just going to sit there and talk sports. But it took me 6 years to realize that. It took me 6 years to realize that if I have a strength, it's probably just sitting there and bullshitting about sports and giving a take on something. Really, that's just. But so many people but that's not everybody. Maybe that's Felger's strength. He's just he can give you a take on anything, and he's really good at running a show. Yeah. But look at Jim Murray, look at Hardy, look at all the amazing look at the morning show. They do all these amazing, funny, creative bits. I'm not amazing, funny, or creative. I'm just going to sit there and talk sports, like really.
Well, but listen, that's one of the reasons why they'll have you in on Felger and Maz. You know what I mean? Like they want you to have an opinion. They want someone there that when they go to you, you're going to do it. That's that show in a nutshell, though. You know what I mean? And the one thing, and I know we're talking a lot about the Sports Hub, but like even Jones at night, what's great about Jones is he's insightful, he's witty, he's smart as hell. But he'll bring you in. Like he wants to hear your opinion, and then if he doesn't like you, he'll fucking spin you around.
You get put in the Jones blender.
But you have to like just go with it and stay in your tracks. If you believe in it, you got to hold it, and that's what makes a great take and a great argument. Like if he thinks Jackie Bradley sucks and Jackie Bradley's gonna hit home runs in the World Series, it's like, all right, dude. Or if Marcus Smart is like, oh, like it's just those things you just remember. You have your argument, he has his, and that's what's great about sports radio, because it's like, hey man, how many swing and miss takes have you had in your life? You know what I mean? But you laugh about it in the end, or you just die on that hill.
And you know what? People who take that seriously, like I think there are some talk hosts out there who are so afraid to admit when they're wrong.
Oh yeah.
But all right. So for example, this last summer, we were talking about the contest earlier. I was in on Felger and Maz was like, hey, like it's a Friday in the summer. Felger's not here or whatever. Like we're gonna like, do something a little different today. We're going to do a segment on how you got a job at the station. It's actually the picture that you posted to promote this. It's that picture from that day, and the lower third, the chyron, the little key that they put up on TV was, where did Matt McCarthy come from? We were talking about the contest. Yeah, there you go. Like right there, that came from that. Christ, I lost my train of thought. What was I saying, Joe?
How'd you find your job? How they did a bit about how'd you get the job?
Find my job. Yeah, so. Christ.
Well, here's the photo. I screwed you all up.
No, I did.
You're trying to say that you guys did something different for the day.
We did do something different for the day. What am I?
And now, God, I fly. Did I stump you?
I have so many times where this happens on the air, Joe.
And Matt does not smoke pot. I will throw that out there. He does not do drugs. So this isn't this is not a stoner moment.
No. This is just like a quarantine moment. Like, all right, I remember now. It's talking about being wrong. All right, so they played back a part of my audition for the Sports Hub. Literally the first take I gave on the Sports Hub, my first take ever, was that John Lester was not an ace and was not going to be a number one in the playoffs. Ooh. So like, there you go. Like that was my first take in the history of my sports talk radio career, an epic fail. And we had a good laugh about that. It's like, you fucking idiot, McCarthy. But here's the thing. I think there are some people in this industry, and I won't name names, who would take that seriously.
Oh,
we're not.
And they bury themselves. You know what I mean?
It's like you know what? We're just talking sports. Like, and especially in these times, Joe, it's like there are people down the street from us saving lives. Okay. Like that's like real important stuff. We're just bullshitting about sports. If you're wrong, fucking own it. I've been wrong about a million things. Like it's just, if you're wrong, you're wrong. And every once in a while, when you're right, you can take that victory lap. But it's so fun when I think it's almost in many ways more fun when you're wrong. And not that I'm trying to be wrong or anything like that. Like when I give you a take, I'm being honest. Like it's not contrived. It's like, that's actually how I feel. And then if I'm wrong, you get to call in, you get to make fun of me. It gets to be a whole thing. But that's good. That's fun. I think that's good radio. Like, I couldn't wait to listen to Adam Jones the night after Jackie Bradley Jr. won the ALCS MVP. Why? Because Jones had this take for such a long time, and I can't wait to watch him react to that. Like, that was the best part of the ALCS, is every time Jackie Bradley Jr. hit a home run, it's just, you go to Twitter and it's like, oh no, Jones, suck on it, Jones. Like, I had friends from California being like, Adam Jones. Like, they're not even from here. They knew it. Like, it was so cool.
Yeah, listen, everyone loves a swing and miss take, or when somebody's totally wrong about a take. Matt McCarthy series from 98.5 The Sports Hub. I know we've done about 25 minutes or so on ourselves. So I feel very stimulated today, Matt.
Mm-hmm. Why is that?
I don't know. Did you check your bank account today? I don't know. I feel
I have not checked my bank account today.
I feel very stimulated
about that
today. So I wanted to start off with this take from Dr. Anthony Fossey, who says sports can return quickly. if there are no fans in stadiums, players quarantine in big hotels, weekly testing of players, keep them well surveyed, and just let them play the season out. So, your thoughts on Dr. Fauci and when sports will return?
All right. So first and foremost, Fauci is the person that I trust. I think he's the person that most Americans trust. He's the person that most Americans should trust. This guy's literally like dedicated his life to stuff like this. So I defer to the experts. I've been really, Joe, I've honestly tried to like put sports out of my mind because I've been of the opinion that these things aren't coming back. Like we're not going to return to society as normal just like overnight, even after the peak returns. I think that'd be foolish. So I've been fully prepared for the thought that baseball isn't happening, the NBA and the NHL aren't returning, that the NFL might get delayed or what. Like I've been emotionally prepared for that. I have actually tried to not think about sports. I haven't tried to like engage in sports at all because I didn't just frankly want to bum myself out. When I hear that, I get hopeful. I do. We get news last night that golf is returning. Now, I'm a golf fan, but I'll tell you what, like I already love golf. When golf returns, I will watch every fucking shot of the Colonial Tournament or whatever the hell they're doing. I don't care who's golfing. I will watch anything because it will be the first sense of normalcy, even though there will be no fans. Golf is like the perfect social quarantine sport. Like the perfect social distancing sport, because those guys can go out there, they can do it safely. If Fauci and if the experts say that sports can return with no fans, that's great. I hope these leagues don't rush into it. I've been really concerned that there's going to be one league out there that it's like, you know what, we're going to be first because people are hungry and we're going to do this and they're going to get people sick. They're going to get people in the game sick. And like, let's be serious. Let's be honest. Like, the most important thing right now is not the economy, is not sports, is not anything. It's making sure that we keep as many people healthy as possible. Like that's just the real world implication. So if Fauci says that we can potentially do this and keep people safe, I'm all in. But I just hope that they don't rush into it. I mean, as much as I want sports back, please don't rush into this because the last thing we want is like baseball returning for a week and then a whole bunch of players get sick and then baseball gets shut down and that's it. Like that's the last thing anybody needs.
What I think has been funny about baseball lately is I feel like they're doing anything to stay relevant at this point.
Totally.
So like, one day we're going to play in Arizona and then, maybe we'll do, Cactus League versus Grapefruit League. And yesterday it was, we're going to play games in Japan, and it's like, shit, they keep talking because they're not relevant. Nobody cares that they're not playing right now. Like every day I hear something new about baseball's idea to start a season or begin a season. Nobody cares, Matt. I know it's your sport. You love it, dude. I've been watching baseball movies like galore. I've watched A League of Their Own. I've watched The Natural. Yeah. I've watched, what else did I watch the other night? I watched all 3 Major League movies. Even back to the minors.
Whew, man.
I watched Field of Dreams. Yeah. I'm trying to think of what, dude, I've watched a lot of baseball movies of late. And yeah, I kind of like wish there was a game on at night. But right now I think they're trying to do whatever they can to be relevant. And whenever I hear a new story, I'm like, man, they're reaching at this point.
Well, and again, that speaks to my concern, Joe. It's like I could see baseball being in a situation where they say, you know what, our standing, in the American sports landscape has really fallen off in the last 20 years. I mean, let's not forget 20 years ago, baseball was still the biggest sport in the country. Like, think about it, 99 All-Star game, like Yankees dynasty steroids, like coming off the home run race. Like that was only 20 years ago where baseball was still the biggest sport in America. Think about how far they've fallen in just 2 decades. And they realize that. So I'm just concerned that, and again, it speaks to my concern about like, is there going to be a league that's going to rush back into this? Like baseball I'm concerned that they're going to say, you know what, our place is not where it used to be, but there's an opportunity. We could be the only sport going, and we could be, the great distraction that baseball has always been, America's pastime. Like, there's a reason why baseball continued during World War II. FDR wanted baseball to still be there to distract the public, to keep morale up. Like there's a long-standing history of baseball coming through in like times where, you know, the country needs it or whatever. And I'm just so concerned that they're going to say, here's an opportunity. It's like, we're going to get baseball back to where it used to be, because if we're the only game going, people are going to fall back in love with the game. And that's a nice, like, pie in the sky idea, but it's not going to work. It's not, because if you're rushing back and nobody else is doing it, that means that you're rushing back and that it's not safe. Okay. Like, so I'm really concerned that there are ulterior motives here for baseball. Like, all of these sports leagues want to get back. They don't know what to do. They're trying to find ways to restart their season or to, you know, have something going on. I think, you know, for the health of the sport, for the health of our psyche, like, I mean, this is where you realize how much sports really mean to us, right? Like, it's such an important thing to take our mind off of things. Like, my God, like, I feel like all we could use during this time would be sports. It's like there was something every night to, like, take our mind off the fact that we've, like, you know, got field hospitals up in New York right now, and like there are thousands of people dying, and the country and the economy is going to hell in a handbasket. Like, we need sports, but at what cost? We just need to keep everybody safe. Really, that's what it comes down to.
Yep, I couldn't agree more with you. I just thought that you know, that was just something interesting that I just noticed it every day. I'm like, oh, what's baseball? What's baseball trying to do today? So Matt, I got a bunch of stuff that I wanted to do today. I know we've done an introduction. We got your leadoff thought on you know, Fosse's comments and everything like that. I just thought we could shoot the shit on some stories. So just sticking with baseball, Steve Pearce, MVP winner. I lost a bet on that one, by the way.
Yeah. Did you lose it with Maz?
Maz took Steve. So I don't think Maz is listening. Maz,
I saw you hand Maz a bunch of money after that.
Yes. So you know, when Maz calls and says, "Hey Joe, you know, what's the line?"
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yep," and he's like, "All right, can I?" Yeah, and I'm like, "Yep, yep, because it's usually in my favor."
Yeah.
But one day it was like, Joe, just give me Steve Pearce plus 700 to win the MVP of the World Series. Fucking guy wins the MVP of the World Series. And the funny thing was, though, is I tailed it. So like, I was like, all right, shit, if he's gonna put 50 on it, I'm gonna put 50 on it too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, shit, let's do this. So yeah, he won. I didn't even think we even saw him last year, maybe in spring training. But he says that the Red Sox didn't cheat. What's going to happen with this now? Like, one of the biggest storylines was the whole Astros and everything like that this year. Like, when we get baseball back, man, I hope we just get baseball back.
Yeah.
You know, the Astros got punished in the offseason. It's probably no one thought this was going to happen. By the way, there was no plan to hurt the Astros and do, you know, put them on public shame and everything like that. And then the Red Sox get off clean. You know, Alex Cora is not here. No one thought that a pandemic would happen, but, you know, at this point, are they even going to announce something? Do you even think there'll be any penalties based off what Steve Pearce said?
Dude, like, the Red Sox keep saying they didn't cheat, and I mean, they're so adamant about it. It's strange, because I'm sure they did. Like, let's be totally honest here.
I mean, JD Martinez is so pissed about that damn hitting room. You know what I mean? Like, it's
like, come on. Like, all right, so the Red Sox have kind of a crappy offense in 2017. Alex Cora comes in 2018, and all of a sudden they're like the best offense in baseball. Like, come on. And Alex Cora, we know, was a big part of the Astros cheating scandal. Not as big a part as AJ Hinch and Jeff Luna would like you to think, but we all know that Alex Cora was a big part of that. So, of course, the Red Sox were up to something. So the question is, like, how much should they be punished? Like, I think they're going to be hurt by the fact that John Farrell, and in 2017, like, they had the whole Apple Watch thing. Like, you know who's skating free is Dave Dombrowski. Like, he's the general manager of the 2017 Red Sox, different manager. 2018 Red Sox, different manager. Both wrapped up in massive sign stealing scandals. Dave Dombrowski got fired at the best time. Holy crap. Like, this guy's off on an island somewhere. Nobody's talking about him, whatever. But in regards to the punishment, like, can baseball just wrap this up at this point? Like, this is ridiculous. This was supposed to be done by the time spring training started, then a week into spring training, then early March. Now Rob Manfred's like, well, we had other things come up, which I understand, you know, a pandemic, a global pandemic. I get that. But it sounds like the report's done. They're just not releasing it. Why? Get it out there. And I agree with what Ron Renicky said yesterday or in the last few days. Like, can we have this information by the time like spring training resumes or summer training or whatever it's going to be. Like, can baseball please just, and maybe they deem that it's not like the right time to release information, like because everything else is going on in the world and it would look like they're burying news or whatever. But I don't know, like this thing has gone on forever. And the same thing with the Patriots thing too. Like the NFL says it's still under review. Like, get your shit together. Like, how long does it take to review this stuff? Like, they did the Astros investigation in what, 2 months? Like a really in-depth, they had a lot to track down there. You're telling me that they can't get this Red Sox thing out? Get it out there now. Like, seriously, this should have been out there a long time ago. Get your act in gear, baseball. I don't get it. Like, the Red Sox need to know. Everybody needs to know, to be honest. Unless more evidence is just still rolling into them, which I guess I don't rule out. But my God, can you hurry this up, please?
Please. I'm hoping the same thing for the Patriots as well. I think we got a little news update on that yesterday that at least they won't be affected this year. One thing Matt, I fucking hate politics.
Yeah, me too.
I want nothing to do with politics. Anything that's been going on right now, I try not to watch. I can't do it. But when the president comes out and says that he's sick of watching 14-year-old games, like games from 14 years ago, like to me, I'm like, yeah, dude, what do you think we're stuck with here? What do you think you're the only guy at home that's sick of watching this shit too? Like, but now he's like bringing all the commissioners together, and I just like the fact that maybe they're trying to set a date. Like maybe they're just trying. Let's do a target today, and
I know
see what happens.
But they can't. Like, and it goes back to my point. Like, we don't know how long this thing is going to go on. Like, again, don't be reckless. And again, it's my concern with the sports leagues, that they're going to say, we got to get back. Like, here's an opportunity. There are no other sports going on. We're going to own the sports landscape. No, reckless. You can't do that. Like, don't get me wrong. I want sports back just as much as the next guy. I've had enough. I've enjoyed like watching Game 6 of the 1975 World Series, but there's only so much of that I can take. All right. Like, I'm tired of the 14-year-old games too, but we can't be reckless about this. We can't restart sports, while this thing is still going on. We got to keep everybody safe. We can't restart the economy. We can't restart any of this shit. All right. We gotta deal with this first, because you know what? If we reopen stuff, and I'm not an epidemiologist, okay, but if we
what? That was a big one.
I'm not a doctor. I don't know. As I always say, Joe, I don't know much about anything, and I especially don't know much about this. I don't know much about this, okay, but I think I know enough to say, yeah, we probably shouldn't just like restart sports right now, or we probably shouldn't send everybody back to work right now. And I know there's pressure politically, there are elections coming up, and, sports leagues want to get back. I just hope that these decisions are made by people who eventually have the best interests of the players, the people, the citizens in mind, rather than their own self-interest, whether that be politicians or commissioners or sports owners. Like this is a time that calls for people making decisions who don't have ulterior motives in making decisions.
Okay, let's move on to some real sports. Starting with the Patriots, the draft is a week away. We get some draft coverage next week, by the way, on the show here. We'll have 3-time Super Bowl champion Ted Johnson on Monday. We'll have Mike Flynn, Super Bowl champion, on Tuesday.
Good.
We're going to have Mike Lockhart of the Fantasy Football Show on 95 The Sports about a wicked draft, Nick, and I know he writes for some site that does drafts. Thursday, we have the voice of the New England Patriots, Bob Sosi.
Awesome.
And then on Friday, we have Dr. Football, John Serenides.
That's a bang-out week right there, Joe.
So a lot of draft coverage right here on Just Sitting Here in a week. But obviously, Tom Brady's gone. There's probably a quarterback maybe in the draft that they're probably looking at. And I know there's a Hall of Fame thing I want to ask you about in a minute here, and then I got a dynasty question. But do you think Jared Stidham's the guy, and do you think that there could be a guy in the draft?
Nope. No. Jarrett Stidham is not the guy. All right. And here's the thing. Maybe he's the guy 2 years from now. I don't know. But this goes back to the point that I've been hammering for months, Joe, and I'm going to hammer it again because I'm not right about much, but I'm dead right about this. Okay. You do not move on from Tom Brady with no viable alternative. Jarrett Stidham, in his second year in the National Football League, is not a viable alternative. Okay. I want to see Jarrett Stidham sit behind, well, Tom Brady or something like that. That's obviously not going to happen. That horse is out of the barn at this point. I don't want to turn this thing over to a second-year kid who I don't think is ready. Maybe if you were able to repeat the thing you did with Garoppolo, you have him sit behind a veteran for 2 or 3 years. Like, this is a mid-round pick, all right? Have him sit behind a veteran, have him develop, and then maybe in year 3, year 4, when you see him, when he actually has some more game experience rather than couple of preseason games where he and Jacoby Myers looked awesome, and then you get to real football, and then you realize that, oh, wait a minute, Jacoby Myers really isn't good. So what does that say about the competition, and what does that say about Jarrett Stidham? Like, I'm not going to base anything off of what I see in the preseason against the Detroit Lions. I'm not. That's foolish. That's reckless. So I don't think Jarrett Stidham is ready right now. Maybe in a few years, sure. I don't know if he's more seasoned, fine. As far as guys in the draft, Joe, I'm going to defer to you on this one. Like, the guys that they could get, like, there are reports coming out that they like Justin Herbert. I do not like Justin Herbert. Out, way out. I'm not a college football guy, like just in general. Like I watch it casually, but I like, you're a huge college football guy. I defer to you on this stuff. But I was at the Pac-12 championship game, Oregon against Utah, which I had some money on because you and I were texting back and forth during that.
That's been a topic of conversation on this podcast, that damn game. Yeah. And if you were there, they went for it on 4th down and didn't get it. And then when they scored 20 they scored 21 straight points, and on 4th down they punt.
Yeah.
And then the next play, Oregon scores a 71-yard touchdown and wins the game.
Right. But so listen, I watched Justin Herbert in person, and I was sitting there with a couple of my friends, and they're like, "Hey, Herbert, like, I don't know, maybe Patriots. Brady's going to be a free agent." And of course, I was telling them what we had all heard about Brady, both behind the scenes and in front of the scenes. So they're like, all right, are we watching the next quarterback of the New England Patriots? I was like, God, I hope not, because this guy sucks. Like, this is not a good situation. So no, listen, you can tell me if there's like some guy out there in like the 4th round or, one of those things. But no, it's I'm too depressed about it, Joe. Still, like, I can't get over the Brady thing. I can't. I don't want to talk about the next quarterback of the New England Patriots because I don't know who it is. I don't know who's out there. I don't want to do it.
Look what we're both wearing. We're fanboying big time.
Of course.
Well, this is all I have. Dude, it's quarantine. I'm wearing sweatpants and I'm wearing a tee. Like, this is what you do. And in the fall, you wear a nice little sweatshirt. This is a hoodie. That's how we do it out this way. So yeah, I have tons of this gear. I have a question for you when it comes to the draft picks in a minute here, but Steve Sporty is checking in. Every time I hear Matt McCarthy talk, I can vision Alex Spear. You guys are the same guy. That's a compliment.
That is a compliment. I'm pretty sure as smart as Alex Spear. Alex Spear went to Harvard. Okay, like college. There's a big difference. All right, like I appreciate the compliments and everything, but like, holy shit, like it's damn. Like, Alex Spear could like put a rocket on the moon. I can barely drive my car.
Someone asked if you were Sarge.
No,
you were not. Sarge was on yesterday, so
yes.
Feel free to chat in and be a part of the show. Matt McCarthy's here. Tom Curran did this thing on NBC Sports Boston that was named the greatest draft pick at each round.
Okay.
So if I asked you, what was the best first round pick of the Belichick era?
Seymour.
Agreed.
Seymour or Will Fork.
Will Fork's, oh yeah, yeah.
Right up there.
I mean, you know what? I don't know if Will Fork would get in the Hall of Fame statistically, but nose guard at some point should. What's his name? Fred Smerlas has always been in consideration for something like that because he, that was his position, and it really wasn't a position at the time. But I agree with you. Will Fork was a freak athlete too.
Totally was.
Seymour just. What he did during that run for those linebackers, what I mean? Just think of the Vrabels, the Ted John, the Brewskis, those guys what he did for them. And then the secondary just got to do what they had to. So I agree with you. Now, here's the interesting one. And it's probably easy, But what's the best second round pick of all time?
Best second round pick. God, I should have checked this article out because now I'm going to. All I can think about their second round picks is how they're generally a disaster. Like Razai Dowling, Tavon Wilson. You think about it's Ron Brace. Rest in peace. He didn't really have an impact. Marquise Hill.
Yeah, I was going to say
he didn't have an impact. Like I just think about all these awful second round picks that they've had. Oh no, this is obvious. It's Rob Gronkowski.
Okay, there you go.
All right,
I was going to say.
Like immediately, you immediately think of like all the failures that they've had in the second round.
Yeah.
They traded up to get Gronk. They jumped the Raiders. I remember watching it live. Man, yeah, no, it's Gronk, obviously, of course. Duh. No shit, McCarthy.
Honorable mentions: Matt Light, Deion Branch, Patrick Chung. So
yeah.
And Chung had to leave and come back.
Chung had to leave and come back. And Chung, here's the thing that was always held against Chung is they traded down. They were sitting there at like 25 or 26. They traded down to 33 or 34, wherever they got Chung, and the Packers took Clay Matthews. So everybody's like, oh, the Patriots should have gotten Clay Matthews. And Clay Matthews was a great player for a long time, but Patrick Chung has been so much better for the Patriots in his second time around than his first. They figured out how to use him. Like he's been such a glue guy on that defense for so long now.
He was the draft pick that they traded when they traded Matt Castle.
Yeah.
As well. I'll run through it. Joe Tooney's third round. Asante Samuel is the fourth round.
Mm-hmm.
Fifth round, they have Matthew Slater. Dan Copen was pretty good. Marcus Cannon, he was a fifth round. Yeah. Sixth round pick. Okay. All right. Seventh round pick, Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
So that's a good list. I mean, I think they've done pretty well in the draft, even though they've sucked very bad.
Yeah.
In the draft as well. So they have a Patriots Hall of Fame, Matt.
Mm-hmm.
The finalists are going to be mentioned here soon. I have a banner that I wanted to put up regarding this. Who's next for the Hall of Fame? The candidates are Seymour, Vrabel. I think Bill Parcells is still a part of it. And then this year it's Wes Welker, first time, and Logan Mankins.
Okay, so Seymour is not in the Patriots Hall of Fame at this point.
He is not in the Patriots Hall of Fame.
He's got to be there, and he probably listen. This whole thing is political. Seymour didn't leave under the best of terms. There were some times. I mean, listen, he held out. I remember in 2004. So, I think that's obviously been held against him. Vrabel made the Patriot Place comments, and he's doubled down on those. Like the Patriot way, isn't that where the movie theater is? Like stuff like that.
He just beat them too in the playoffs. Out.
I mean, listen, Vrabel should be in there. Vrabel should already be in there, but I think we understand that there's some politics at play here. The Patriots, certainly take notes on guys who have gone off the reservation at times, and that's been held against them. The fact that Parcells isn't in there is, to me, ridiculous. I mean, Bill Parcells. There are no Patriots without Bill Parcells, right? Like this era doesn't exist without Parcells and Bledsoe, and Kraft buying the team. Like, remember where this team was like before. I got into a huge debate with some of these internet trolls, these Twitter trolls, who when I commented that the Patriots basically sucked for 30 years. They're like, no, they didn't. Look at them from 78 to 85. I'm like, who cares? They were irrelevant. They sucked. The team was about to move to St. Louis. Okay. Like they were not good. They had some moments where they bubbled up. They got to the Super Bowl and got, absolutely demolished by the Bears. They were essentially irrelevant pre-Parcells. Fact, not opinion, fact. Parcells needs to be in there. Bledsoe's in, which is great. He deserves to be there. Parcells should be there too. I mean, let's be honest. Like,
Seymour was a damn finalist for the Hall of Fame.
Right. He's not in the Patriots Hall of Fame at this point. Give me a break. Yeah, and Christopher Carroll popping up here. It's so true. Bill Parcells legitimized the Patriots. That is so true. I mean, Parcells was the best coach in the NFL at the time. Like, the fact that he would come to the New England Patriots, like, what? Huh?
I know. And I think he left the Giants. He had like health issues, I think, and then that's where it all came back up. But yeah, a guy who won a couple of Super Bowls just a few years before that was available to go to the Patriots
and was willing to come to the Patriots
and bring his staff too. Like
this would be like, honestly, this would be like the greatest quarterback of all time going to the losingest franchise in the history of the NFL. Not that
Oh,
that
really?
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no, wait, no, that just did. Tom Brady instantly legitimizes the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep. And I think it sets them
with the
forward.
Patriots.
Yeah, dude, that Tom Brady going to the Bucs, whether it works out or not, will be the best thing that ever happened for the Bucs.
Of course, because that franchise is one of the biggest jokes in the history of professional sports. They're a fucking joke. And when I see Tom Brady wearing a Bucs creamsicle uniform, I am going to vomit. Like that will make me sick to my stomach.
I think I'm gonna go. I think I'm gonna go to a game out there
in Tampa.
I think I'm just gonna go.
You want to go?
I'm in.
I'll
go. We could get like a Airbnb with a pool.
We can go to Publix. It'll be great.
We can go to like the Hulk Hogan shop out there. I'm kidding.
Go to like some awful Tampa Bay strip club. Like there you go.
Don't threaten me with a good time. Speaking of sports, Matt,
hurry in on this, and there you go.
He knows where to eat.
Yeah, he knows where to eat. He knows where to be.
Bulls or Patriots dynasty, which was the best dynasty?
Not even close. It's the Patriots dynasty. And listen, I mean, you sure I'm a homer, I'm a honk, I'm a Tom Brady Bobo, like whatever. What the Patriots did in the National Football League in the modern era with the salary cap, with everything, is unprecedented in the history of North American sports. The Yankees of the 50s cannot compete with this. The Bulls of the 90s cannot compete with this. The Celtics in the 60s cannot compete with this. The Canadians of the 50s, whatever. Go back to the 1927 Yankees or the 1901 to 1918 Red Sox. Nobody can compete with this because what the Patriots did in the modern era, salary cap, in a day and age in sports and particularly in the NFL where everything is stacked against you having repeated success, is remarkable. It is unprecedented, and we will never see anything like it ever again. They essentially had two dynasties over the course of a 20-year span, all with Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. Like six Super Bowls, like going to 9 in 20 years is just, we'll never see anything like it again. The Bulls dynasty was great, but basketball is also a sport where basketball is a sport filled with dynasties. The Celtics, the Lakers, the Celtics again, the Bulls in the night. Like it's all like literally the rules in basketball are designed so that you never lose your star players. Like the rules are specifically designed in basketball to keep dynasties intact and keep them in place. Whereas the rules in football are designed to do the exact opposite. So like, I'm not trying to discredit what the Bulls did, although I guess I will a little bit because I don't care about basketball dynasties. I don't care about the Celtics. I don't care about the Lakers. Like, who cares if the Celtics won 1 million championships in the 1960s in like an 8-team NBA? Whoop-de-fucking do, really. Who cares if the Bulls won, 6 championships? I don't care. That's what basketball is. It's not what football is. And what the Patriots did.
Can I tell you why I care?
Why?
And you make all valid points, all of them. Michael Jordan never lost in the finals, never. And I know people want to do that argument with Montana, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So all of a sudden Brady should be penalized for going to 9?
I don't think you should.
Super Bowls or whatever.
All I'm trying to in the Super Bowls that he lost, Joe. I mean, Brady could like easily have 9 Super Bowls. Like people forget, 2007, the Patriots are trailing. Brady drives the Patriots 80 yards. He hits Randy Moss on 3rd and goal for a go-ahead touchdown with 2:02 to play. Brady drives the fucking field and wins the Super Bowl for the Patriots before they screw it up, before the defense rips a Lombardi trophy out of his hands. All right, so like the only Super Bowl where Brady really didn't play well was Super Bowl 46, and he still hit Wes Welker for what should have been the game-winning catch. All right, so it's like he played well in 8 of the 9 Super Bowls. He played really well.
And Malcolm Butler didn't play in one of them.
Right. And he set every record known to man in Super Bowl 52, put up 33 points and put up like the greatest offensive output in Super Bowl history, and they fucking lost. So it's like, I'm not going to put that on Tom Brady. Okay. Like,
I also think if Brady wins one more, he's better than Jordan. When I look back at it, I still think Jordan might be the greatest athlete of all time. I don't think Brady considers himself this fabulous athlete or anything like that to begin with. But one other thing I'll bring up is Brady had a better supporting cast. That could be argued. But, Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen.
Dennis Rodman.
And then for the next run, you have Rodman.
Yeah.
Who was Brady's partner?
All right. Okay. So he did have Rom Gronkowski.
Yeah, but for one Super Bowl.
For 3, right?
Well, he was hurt in one and didn't play in another, and then
okay. All right. So actually, yeah. So he did have Gronk in He didn't have Gronk in Super Bowl 51, which they won. He did have Gronk in Super Bowl 52, which they lost. But yeah, I mean, listen, he had him in 49, and Gronk was a huge part of that game. Gronk has essentially the game-winning catch in 53, even though he was on his last legs at that point. I mean, I do think there is a well, Tom Brady never had a supporting he had Rob Gronkowski and Randy Moss, two of the greatest weapons in the National Football League. But I think Brady was okay.
What was the longevity of that, though?
No, there was
Jordan had that for all 6,
right?
Besides the Robin other 3 beat.
Totally true. And listen, we can go around and around on this for quite some time. I mean, there's, but Brady had an elite defense for at least 3 of those Super Bowls. I'd argue, 4 of those Super Bowl. I mean, 2003 defense is just ridiculous. I mean, 2001 defense, they shut down the greatest show on turf. That's a great defense with legitimate Hall of Famers.
I'll tell you this much: give me Bill Belichick over Phil Jackson.
Hell yes.
And I know Jackson can show the rings, but I think Bill did it with less.
How many rings does Bill have? 8 rings in football versus 11 in basketball. This isn't even close. Bill Belichick way greater than again. It's basketball. It's a sport meant for dynasties.
All right, this one's gonna be this one will be on the table for a while. Maybe we'll bring it back. Programming note: myself and Matt will be on the Weekender show.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
YouTube on Saturday at 2 p.m. with our buddy Sarge. So
yeah, that'll be a good time.
Maybe we can continue this conversation as well. I wanted to just bring up something. Today's April 15th. And I woke up today. I didn't really think about it. If you can tell in the top right hand corner here, we have the banner remembering. Let me pull this down here. But we have the banner remembering what happened on 4/15 in 2013. Obviously, the Boston Strong came about that year, Matt. It was a memorable year for baseball and obviously in the area and life in general here. But what was your thoughts on that day? I was reminded of it recently, but your thoughts on the day in general and then what it meant for that Red Sox season as we remember those who passed in 2013 on this day.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, it's one of the first things you remember about that day is it was a beautiful day. It was just a perfect mid-April day in Boston. And again, 2013, I was up in Portland at the time. And we had a game that night and everything. And it just the Sea Dogs were on the road at the time. But I mean, I'll just never forget. I don't know why I sat down at the TV probably about just before 3 o'clock. I think I was home. I was I'll kill an hour before I go into the studio or whatever. And I saw what had happened. I mean, I'd watched the marathon in the morning like I always do. It's you're a Bostonian. It's our day. And that's the thing that I love about Marathon Monday, about Patriots Day. Is it's just the most Boston day. If you grew up here, you knew what it means. It starts in Lexington, with the reenactment on the green in Lexington. And, you got the state police recreating Paul Revere's ride. It's such a beautiful day, and it's our day. It's always our day. It's our special little holiday. And it was just rocked. It was just rocked. And, I wasn't home at the time. And all I could think was, I just want to be home. I want to be in Boston. I'm in Portland. I'm an hour and a half away. I'm still in New England. But I just remember being I should be there. I'm a Bostonian. I should be there. And I was I don't know what I do, but I had the sense that I wasn't in the place where I belonged. And not that there was anything I could do to help or anything, but that's just the sense I had all that week. And it was the craziest week. I'll never forget Renee Rancourt coming out and singing the national anthem at the Bruins game. And I was at work and we just all turned it on. We just all cried, it's just and that beautiful moment where, when the crowd sings, about the stars, you hear the stars, it's not the stars, it's the stars. It was just, and then, the manhunt, I'll never forget that. I think it was that night, or wasn't it? or I forget, the week gets all jumbled together, but that night where you hear about Sean Collier and the police officer that had been shot, you're like, oh my God, this can't be connected, can it? And I remember I had to be up early the next day, and I'm like, I went to bed, and I woke up the next day, I checked Twitter or whatever, and it's like, oh my God, like the whole world's gone to hell. Like, and I all I did was keep WBZ News Radio on the whole day. I was at work, but like, I just wanted to feel connected. I was like, I don't know what I'll do, but like, I'm just thinking of home. And it was the most surreal, emotional week that I can ever think about. And it's just so sad to this day, like that happened. But it's also an example of how what a tight knit community I think Boston is. People came together, and like I look at this time, like you think about the lockdown, everybody obeyed it because we all did our part, and I feel like Boston, here we are 7 years later in sort of a lockdown, and I feel like Boston was really quick to act, and I feel like people were really quick to say, you know what, we got to do our part, and I feel like we as a community, we as a city, are doing what we need to do to keep people safe at this time. You know why? Because we learned that 7 years ago on this day that we need to band together. And we did. And we did on that day. We did on that week. And we're doing that at this time right now. And I think it just goes to show that like Boston Strong is more than just a saying. It's more than just something that we put on the ribbon. It's more than just the Red Sox jersey that they hung in Cleveland on that night, when they went to Cleveland after playing the marathon game, and that 617 Boston Strong. It's more than just something we put on ribbons and jerseys to feel better. It really is a mentality and approach and a way of life that we implemented then and we're implementing now.
Yep. And looking at it as a sports story, it was a huge sports story. This is our fucking city.
Right.
A team of cast-offs rallied together.
Yeah, I mean,
beat some great teams, dude.
They did.
And
did.
It catapulted them to come together and totally. Certainly persevere.
I mean, I'll never forget that Saturday after the manhunt when they came, and Ed Davis and the police came out, and David Ortiz goes out, this is our fucking city, and Daniel Nava hits that home run, and Don Orsillo has the best call of his career. Boston, this is for you. Like, it's just, when I hear that, I still get chills. I just got chills right now thinking about that. Like, it was such a powerful moment, and it goes to show the power of sports that it did help the city heal. And
absolutely.
Totally.
You mentioned the Renee Rand court.
Yeah.
Those were like huge moments in the city, and it was sports that helped.
Totally.
And you're mentioning it, man. If you can look at it from then to now, shit, man.
Yeah.
like totally. It's we don't have the sports now to lean on. We have to, the way to do things now is to stay safe and look out for everybody,
but it goes to show you the power of sports and the importance of sports and the importance of being able to come together. And I think, we as humans, we need that contact with one another. And like, all right, so, the marathon happens, but there was no place that, if you had ticket to that Saturday Red Sox game, there was no place that you would rather be. You'd stand in a security line, but you just wanted to be with 35,000 Bostonians to come together, to celebrate, to mourn, to cry, to do all those things, that we do as a group, as a community. And people band together. And I think that's what's so tough about these times. It's like, all right, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. The economy is going to shit. Like, we could be headed for a Great Depression, like, for all we know. Like, who knows? If we could just go to a Red Sox game and sit at Fenway Park at 7:00 on a Friday night, it just takes your mind off things. And we can't do that. And that's what's so tough about this. It's one of the many things that's so tough about this.
And of course, we're remembering what happened in 2013. Of course, Boston Marathon will be moved this year because of the pandemic. So on Monday will still be Patriots Day, but there will not be a marathon. And I hate to kill the mood a little bit here, but I just want to give a shout out to our condolences to Scott Zolak of 98.5 The Sports. His father passed last night at 72 years old. They put up a graphic here. When Zoe threw a touchdown, he pointed to his dad who was in the stands on his phone.
That's awesome.
But Zoe, showed up today to work. They gave a really nice message, just about his dad and how the stream, the fact that they're on television and on the radio, and with his family in Florida, they're able to watch him every day, and it's how the family could stay connected.
Mm-hmm.
And they were sharing a story, and Bob Sosi called in, and Beetle mentioned it as well. But they had a special connection so his dad could hear the live broadcast.
Did they really miss that?
Yeah, because as you know, you can't hear the games on the app because the rights and everything. So they had a special stream that would go like to the old man, so he could like hear his son's game, and they they'd be checking in before the games. Hey, you got a good sound? And I guess like during the game, like the stream must have went out one time. So they had like McKenna trying to like get it ready and get it ready to go. But
they have the on-site engineer. So it was Jason McKenna. We've got a great engineering team, who puts on these broadcasts, and it's not easy work, and they make it sound flawless every time. So they had like a dedicated oh my God, that's an amazing story.
But just remember, dude, I tweeted out a story for those who want to check it out. It's at Joe Emer on Twitter. But his father Paul actually played at Cal, was a backup quarterback, but like because he couldn't play, he was like a kicker and like a punter, and like played all these other positions. But like a legendary coach in Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
like a legendary. His brother played Chuck played quarterback at Delaware. Obviously, Zoe played at Maryland with other great quarterbacks, and played 9 years in the NFL as well. But his the one thing that Zoe said today was that his dad was at every game, and wherever it was, his dad always showed up, always called, and called him his hero. And I just Zoe didn't have to be there today. He didn't, and showed up, talked about it. It was a special moment for an hour for him and his family to connect, because during this time, how does he get to Florida? You know what I mean? What do you do with social distancing? And
oh my God,
I'm sure it's really hard on the family. So just wanted to give our condolences here.
No, Zoe, I mean, we're thinking of you, and I'm going to text him after the show today and just let him know that I'm thinking of him. And yeah, it's just, I just feel so badly for all the people out there who, let's just say you have, an elderly person in your life, like you can't go see them, healthy or not healthy. Like you can't go, and that, put it this way, if say I were 90 years old and I had all my family and my family couldn't see me, like, my God, like that would be like a living hell, whether I'm healthy or not, but like, that's what life is all about, is the connections with the people that you love the most, and to not be able to be there either in a time of need or not a time of need. My heart goes out to so many people who can't have that connection with, say, even the elderly, or our parents or grandparents, or whatever you want to call it, like the people that you want to have the most connection with in a time like this. You can't have connection with. That's just, we've never encountered anything like this, and my heart just breaks for people who are going through that. My heart breaks for Zoe, and I'm thinking of him and the whole Zolak family.
Yeah, we're all thinking of Zoe, and just in general, everybody in this pandemic. It's for everyone who's feeling loss or suffering loss. It's like, dude, how do you have a wake? How do you have people together? How do you get this closure? Like, it's something I never want to even think of experiencing. And obviously our thoughts are with literally everybody. So not to do a buzzkill on that, Matt, I wanted to bring up those two stories today. Before we get into the fun stuff, I want to know what's going on with Matt McCarthy during quarantine, is what I call it here.
All right. I'm still working, which I'm really.
So you work for what company again? Do you work for?
I work for a company called Whoop. We are a one of these fitness trackers, kind of a like you think your Fitbit, stuff like that. It's a Boston-based tech company, and we create technology that allows you to track your body. It's actually really cool. We're in the middle of a study with the Cleveland Clinic and a place out in Australia to study how we're examining respiratory rate and whether or not that can be a precursor to COVID-19 symptoms, because the people who are wearing this, we've seen with a lot of them that the people who are wearing this and have been diagnosed with coronavirus, we actually have in a lot of those cases have seen their respiratory rate go up before they were symptomatic. So it's like no shit. It's like really cool. It's way beyond like anything that I'm capable. I produce their podcast, so like I'm not like a science guy. Like I'm just the audio idiot. Like, but we had Rory McIlroy on our podcast 2 weeks ago. He wears it. He's like crazy into it. It's a really cool piece of technology. Like I'm not like a big fitness person. Like I do radio. Like I'm not like I'm not radio people. I would not exactly consider like the most fit people of all time. But yeah, check it out. It's a Boston-based tech company. It's called Whoop, WHOOP. Check it out, whoop.com. It's actually really cool. So I've been really lucky to still be working. I can do a lot of my work from home, which is great. So that's kept me busy. I mean, I certainly am appreciative of them. I'm still working when so many people aren't. That's not lost on me. Other than that, I've just been spending time with my loved ones as much as I can. I was at home for most of us. I'm actually currently with my girlfriend and her family right now. We spent Easter together. So my approach was I'll settle in here for 2 weeks, incubation period, so that I don't go back to, where I was and then infect people there. Like, it's just not something I wanted to do. So I'm here for 2 weeks. So I'm here in their basement. Her brother is a professional hockey player. You can see the hockey sticks behind me. So yeah, he plays in the Islanders system. He's a defenseman. So his season is done right now. But yeah, it's a big hockey playing family. So I don't exactly fit in with that because I can't skate. But yeah, they always make fun of my hockey knowledge because they know stuff. But yeah, it's listen, I'm hanging in there, and I think you and I were kind of talking a little bit, before the pod today, Joe, or before the broadcast. Like, I'm really trying to view this as an opportunity. Like, when am I ever in my life? Hopefully never, but like, when are we ever going to be able to stay home for a while, just kind of reset on life? Like, I'm really just trying to view this as an opportunity. Like, this is our new normal for now. So I'm just kind of trying to optimize it. Like, it's kind of cool. I get, I'm not getting on the commuter rail every day. I'm like thankful for that. I'm still able to do a lot of my work. I'm still able to be around, people that I really care about, while also keeping everybody safe. Like, it sucks that you can't go to the store without being terrified or without wearing a mask. Like, don't get me wrong, but I'm really trying to like make the most of this and still work, still get out for like walks every day. Like, my dog Sammy has been like the real winner in all of this. But yeah, it's been good, man. Like, I mean, I consider myself very lucky because there are a lot of people out there who do not have it well, who do not have it good right now. And I mean, listen, I'm still working. I'm still like, so am I going to complain about not being able to go, to a sporting event right now? No, because so many people have it way worse than me. I'm really just trying to make the most of it. And I kind of feel like I have been able to do that. So I'm happy, man. I'm happy. I'm healthy. Everybody around me is still healthy. That's the most important thing. Fingers crossed.
Cool. Jeff checking in, thinks it's cool about Whoop. Pat Botello says, hey guys, hey. And Pat,
yeah, it is cool. Check it out.
And then when do you think sooner than later? I think we both agree a little bit later when it comes to that. So, Matt,
bring that golf back.
What have you been doing? Like, what's the one besides work? Like, what's the hobby that you've done the most? What have you been like? What's your go-to snack at this point?
Oh, go-to snack. All right. So, you know what I've started doing? All right, my cholesterol's way too high, 247, because I eat like shit. So I'm trying to eat healthier. Teddy Grahams. Teddy Grahams. They appear to be good. No cholesterol, no trans fat, no none of that. They're very good. So normally at my place, I don't keep like chocolate candy, stuff like that. Here with my girlfriend and her family, we do have candy. So I've been kind of crushing all of that. I've been eating very well, too well. But yeah, Teddy Grahams, Joe, I'm telling you, like I hadn't thought of Teddy Grahams in 20 years, but there were Teddy Grahams here a few days ago. Like, I'm going to try a few of these. I'm like, oh shit, this is really good. So yeah, I've been crushing the Teddy Grahams.
What's your favorite frozen food?
Favorite frozen food? Whew. Oh man, that's a good one.
You know
what I love? I do love like fish sticks. Like,
wow.
Who doesn't love fish sticks? And there's a South Park joke. Like, who doesn't love, like, I do love like your fried frozen. I had like some like frozen, I was going through the freezer. I was like, shit, what is this? Like fish sticks. And like, I had it. It was great. It was fantastic. Like, I felt like I was 8 years old at my grandmother's place again, but it was great.
What shows have you been watching?
All right, so I did start with Tiger King. My girlfriend had already watched through most of it, but I'm 2 episodes into Tiger King.
What do you think?
Holy shit! This is like, I don't like to generally do the everybody else is watching this thing, so I generally I'm not one of those people. Like I didn't watch Game of Thrones. I did watch Sopranos when it ended, and then I went back and rewatched it. It's like the best show of all time. But I have started watching Tiger King. It's pretty good.
Yeah, keep watching. You got a long way to go there.
Okay, yeah.
I want to ask this, Matt. What is your favorite sports movie?
Oh God, that's a good one. All right, so I guess I would say you have to say like Field of Dreams, but I would just say that Field of Dreams, like people are like, oh, it's like the greatest baseball movie of all time. It really is not a baseball movie. It's more a movie about life and death. And the movie itself isn't that great. Like the first hour and 40 minutes of Field of Dreams is like, whatever. The final 10 minutes, incredible. It's like one of the best moments in movie history. So, I mean, I'd put Field of Dreams up there. I do like Miracle. Miracle's good. The Natural. I don't know if I have like a specific favorite sports movie. I'm probably forgetting something, but you know what I do love? I do love the Ken Burns baseball documentary. I was watching that the other night on MLB Network. Like that's like 18 hours of like pure baseball nerdiness, which just fits right into what I do.
And final question. Well, my favorite baseball movie is 8 Men Out. If you ever chance to see
I've
that.
not seen 8 Men Out. I have not.
Awesome.
There are 2 baseball movies I have not seen. I have not seen 8 Men Out, and I have not seen Bull Durham.
Oh, yeah. Dude, go do it.
I know.
What are you waiting for?
I have 8 Men Out and Bull Durham sitting on my DVD shelf at home because they were given. I've never
8 Men
watched.
Out's the better movie with better actors.
Right.
Okay. Bull Durham is more like leisure, you know?
Right.
Both good.
Yeah.
Better than Field of Dreams, in my opinion.
But yeah, again, like Field of Dreams, it's not very good until the end, and then the end is amazing. And
I like James Earl Jones. When he comes in there and he's it's baseball, Ray. But no, I like when he drops him off. Yeah. I just like when he drops him off. He goes, Moonlight Graham. You seen it? Yeah. And he's like, I did. Go the distance, Ray. That's my favorite part.
By like an army of steamroller. I love when Maz does the James Earl Jones. Have you heard Maz read James Earl Jones' speech? He did it last year on opening day. He did the America has rolled by like an army of steamrollers, raced over and rolled over again. It's so funny to hear Maz, because we think of Maz like Squeaky Maz, do a James Earl Jones impression. It's pretty good.
Final question, Matt. I've been asking every guest that we've had here on I'm Just Sitting Here. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I still see myself at the Sports Hub. I hope that's the case. I still see myself just kind of doing what I'm doing now. Like I'm so lucky to do what I do. Like, and whether it's in the same capacity that I'm in or a different capacity, I don't know. And honestly, I don't even really care, because who wouldn't love to do what we do, to talk about sports, to have a platform to talk about sports? Like I don't take for granted any single day. Like we turn the mic on there at that studio. I still think I'm crazy lucky to do what I do. Like I can't believe that I get to do this. I can't believe how I got the job. I can't believe that I'm still there 7 years later. Like, and it's unfortunate now to not be able to get to do the programs there on the weekends right now, which is, I totally understand why we're doing it, where everybody's doing our part to keep everybody safe. The people that absolutely have to be in there right now, we don't want to put a lot of bodies in that studio. I've missed doing that, which is why I love doing this. I love being on with you. So 5 years from now, God willing, I'm still at the Hub. I'm still talking about Boston sports, and hopefully we're not talking about a really dark era in Boston sports, because we've been really, really spoiled in the last 20 years and in the last 10 and a half years of the Sports Hub's existence. If we're sitting there talking about like the Patriots being irrelevant and the Bruins era being past, and like the Red Sox still being the fucking disaster that they are right now, and like the Celtics never really hitting their potential. Like if we're sitting there in 5 years and it's a dark time, that's going to fucking suck. I hope we're not doing that, but I hope we're still there talking about it.
All right. He is Matt McCarthy of 98.5 The Sports Hub. He also does a podcast called Hardcore Baseball. Hopefully that gets picked up.
Yeah.
at some
It'll
point.
it'll be back when baseball returns.
And I'm sure you'll hear a lot more of Matt, hopefully over the summer when everyone's down the Cape. Maybe.
Yep.
I don't know.
You better believe it. I hope.
I really. It's like the mayor from Jaws, right? The beaches will be open this summer.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, America's going to reopen. It's going to be great. We're going to have sports. It is like the mayor from Jaws. What fucking times we live in. I'll just say this. July 31st, I'm going to Taylor Swift, or I'm supposed to. So that better fucking happen.
Ooh, this was supposed to be the greatest
Boston
concert summer.
Right? Oh my god. Oh, they were talking about Springsteen touring. It was going to be great.
Oh wow! Throw that in because the Boston Calling. We got the what else was it? Who else was it? Motley Crue was going to be there. I think the Foo Fighters are playing. Aerosmith was going to be here. It was going to be a whatever. Maybe they'll shoot it. Maybe they'll shoot again for it in a year or so. All right, he's Matt McCarthy. Go back to work. Tell everybody at Whoop we said hello. Again, follow him on Twitter at Matt McCarthy 985. Matt, this will be posted on Facebook Live and also on Twitter, and we're going to put it on YouTube so everybody can have the video forever and ever, and it will live on always. So, Matt, appreciate you for being my guest today, and I will be talking to you this weekend on the Weekender Show on YouTube at 2 o'clock.
It'll be a blast. Joe, thanks for having me. This was like seriously some of the most fun I've had in a long time. This was a blast. I miss doing shows with you. And I miss, obviously everything that happens with the real world, but I hope you're doing well. I hope Nikki's doing well. And I hope everybody out there who's watching, listening, stay safe, stay healthy. Don't be a fucking jackass. Like really, seriously. Social distance, consider, take on your own personal responsibility, but yeah, reach out at Matt McCarthy 98.5 and we'll be back soon, hopefully. So everybody stay safe. And Joe, this has been a blast. Thanks a lot for having me. And thanks to everybody for being a part of it.
All right. He's Matt McCarthy at Matt McCarthy 985. Thanks, Matt. And I will be talking to you soon, my man. So thanks for Matt for joining the show today. We did a lot of personal stuff. That's kind of what I wanted to do with this podcast is kind of get to know each other, try to get to know everybody a little bit better. Get their story. Obviously, when we're on the radio, we're either, stuck as a third wheel or, we're working a weekend shift that maybe not a lot of people get to hear us. So, for the most part, I think it's pretty good to get everybody on here. This is kind of funny. A bunch of these just came in, so I haven't been able to read these yet. But Joe, would you consider you're the Bruce Springsteen of the sports chub? Things were just getting interesting, people said. Joe, you're the shoeless Joe Jackson of the sports chub. Thank you. Matt, looking jacked. Have you been lifting? Looks like you got huge traps, Matt. So that was all the comments that we didn't bring up that Matt can see on Facebook just a little bit later. I just wanted to bring up what else we have going on this week. We had Matt McCarthy today. Tomorrow we'll have Sean Silver. He'll be on the show tomorrow. And then, of course, we'll have Ryan Johnston on with us as well for the rest of the week. This is the lineup that we have going. I'm going to try to keep everybody up to date on who we have. A lot of the Sports Hub guys, talking to some other guys in Boston as well. I get maybe some EEI guys lined up as well, if there's time, if they can do it. So this is what we have for the schedule coming up at the end of the week here. And, of course, next week we're doing a ton of draft stuff. It's going to be a hell of a week. When it comes to the draft as well. And tomorrow I'm going to recap the dark side of wrestling. I was going to do it today, but I'll do it tomorrow. We'll have Sean Silver. He's a wrestling guy as well. So I wanted to thank everybody who chimed in. We're going to try to do this every day at noon unless something happens with the schedule. Who knows? And again, next week, all draft content as well. Tomorrow, what is today? It's kind of like I forget what day. Today's Wednesday. Okay. Tomorrow's Thursday. So I'll be on Toucher and Rich at 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. We're going to do some gambling stuff. There's a food eating contest this week. And I am pumped to see if we can bet on that. And then the horse tournament as well. So that's it from me today. We did 90 minutes. I want to thank Matt McCarthy. Again, you can find out all our shows. They stream now. Spotify, Google Play, you name it, on YouTube. You can watch all the videos as well. And on Facebook Live and on Twitter. It has been fun. Thanks to everybody. We'll check in with you tomorrow. We'll have Sean Silver on the show. I'm Joe Murray, just sitting here. We'll talk to you then.